This is a WKYT podcast.
Dun, da, da, da. There you go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a long time coming episode of Conversations with Victor and Andrea. Andrea is at home doing her makeup. Is that what you said, Andrea?
Yep.
All right. And I'm in my living room talking into my laptop. So, the audio is going to be interesting. We're going to figure this out. But, I feel like every weekend I send you a text going, hey, you want a podcast? And you're like, yeah. And then we just don't do it.
I know. I got to be honest. This podcast I love, as I've said many times. Mm-hmm. But it's also one of the things that I feel the most guilt about because I'm always thinking, oh, we need to do it. Oh, we need to do it. And then it's like the last thing I get to most of the time. And it shouldn't be. I know my priorities are off with it. And I feel bad.
So
you're laughing?
Well, no, I just thought, so you're putting on makeup. Do you have something important going on?
No.
You just like to feel normal?
I don't like looking ugly.
No, all right. That's fair.
Well, I am going to go to the store because we're going to grill out tomorrow since it's going to be such a beautiful Mother's Day. Not.
Yeah.
But we are going to have people over, and thankfully there's enough space for us to socially distance and still see each other here. Since I live out in the sticks, I have plenty of space.
Got a big backyard. Well, that's nice. That'll be nice. And yeah, grilling out.
Yeah, you know that if you ever came over.
Ooh, burn. Although to be fair, I think I've only been invited once, and I was busy doing something that weekend. I think I was hosting something. Was that what was going on?
No, I think you had Phil Collins, maybe.
Oh, that may have been it. Yeah, that was fairly important.
I'm so offended. I mean, obviously, I'm cooler than Phil Collins. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, you made the right call there.
You are a little cooler than Phil Collins. So one thing I do have to take care of is, the last couple podcasts I dropped were solo ones where I was going through the TV bracket. What's going on over there?
Hmm?
Oh, are you just laughing at me? I couldn't tell. It sounded like there was other noise.
I'm laughing at you.
Oh, okay. Get closer to your phone. There's a little bit of an echo.
Okay. Better?
Right. Yeah, that actually sounds great.
Okay, good.
So my last couple of solo ones were me making chicken salad out of other stuff, and right. It was the TV bracket that we had from that Gray was doing with all the TV shows. And I will say my bracket, my Final Four, ended up being way different than the one because in among Gray TV we started voting on them all. I think their final ones is
it made me sick.
I Love Lucy and Andy
not
Griffith,
that
maybe. I don't
just
know.
That Friends won.
Yeah,
I was so disappointed.
Yeah. So that was it.
Okay, here's my thoughts on Friends.
Okay, go for it.
I have a lot. So
I don't think it aged well because I loved Friends whenever it was on. I was a huge Friends fan.
Same.
And I think we just grew up.
I think part of the appeal for me is the fact that I wasn't allowed to watch it. Much like The Simpsons. So that made me want to watch it so much more and enjoy it when I was watching it.
Yeah.
I'm such a rebel.
See, although I will say now that we have Disney Plus, I've been rewatching The Simpsons. And I feel
Simpsons holds up.
That's what I was going to say. It holds up. It actually, so my Final Four, the way, if you have listened to the previous ones, it came down to The Office versus The Simpsons. Ooh. and Parks and Rec versus The Price is Right.
That's the weirdest matchup.
I know. You haven't watched Parks and Rec though, have you?
Oh yeah, I love.
Oh, you have? Okay. Well then, all right. Well then, we're in on this together. That is a weird matchup, but to me, Parks and Rec is kind of a perfect TV show. I mean, it's not. Early on, like the Mark Brandanowitz stuff is kind of weird. I was glad when they ditched him.
Oh, I agree.
But it just becomes such an amazing show, so quotable. Ron Swanson.
Well, he was too cool for Leslie, and that doesn't work with that show. Leslie is a dork, and you just have to embrace her. You can't act like you're better than her. I think that's why his character didn't work. Which
is why Ben was perfect, because he was also a huge dork, and the whole Cones of Dunshire thing. Did you watch the half an hour little special they did?
I did not.
They did they did a reunion where everybody obviously had to film it from their homes. Right. But the story they wrote, they made it work. It was kind of a conference call with everybody. Mm-hmm. And it's just really funny. And there was, a reason that they were all, it turns out Leslie Knope still has everybody checking in once a week.
Of course she does.
Or she calls every day, I think, but they're like, can we just limit to this once? So, and they're all, nobody wants to be the one to have to call Gary. Although I guess, we know him as Jerry, but he's actually Gary.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's really good. It's really worth watching. And
I would call him just to see Christy Brinkley, who he's married to on the show.
So they all, and yeah, they made the most of their situations, and there was obviously some workarounds between who all could be on and who all couldn't. But I mean, all the main cast was there, and a lot of the supporting. So it was really good. It's worth watching if you're a fan of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get through my finals here. That way I can in this torturous.
Well, I'll say this. I didn't,
you go ahead.
I wasn't with you the whole time.
You were very upset about The Bachelor.
Well, yeah, I know that I'm on my own on that one when it comes to most people, but I do love the show. And side note, if you're a Bachelor fan, you should be watching Listen to Your Heart. There's new spinoff that's like American Idol meets Bachelor, and it's incredible.
Wait, do they sing on it? I'm really curious about this now.
Yes.
So it's a Bachelor type singing competition?
Okay, except that they're actually talented. Because I feel like there are a lot of wannabe singers that go on The Bachelor, and rarely are they good enough to be an actual singer.
There are a lot of people who just go on The Bachelor to get famous. Like they're not there to find love. They just want exposure.
But I think these people are legitimately talented, and also it's different from The Bachelor because they're not nearly as aware of their image. Like a lot of the people on The Bachelor now are like influencers, and these people are much more real. Like they're constantly in their sweats and glasses with no makeup. Like they just don't care, and it feels more authentic.
All right, well I'll add that on my list of things to get to.
It's really good. It is. And it's only 6 episodes. I guess they didn't really know if it was going to be a hit or not. I personally like it, and I hope more people start watching it so it comes back.
Well, that's the thing. People are starting to have to dig into a lot of stuff because
there's nothing else to do.
There's nothing new really being made. They kind of had to halt. So yeah.
Well, I'm hoping it helps. I really like Listen to Your Heart.
So here's how the real dilemma, because I mean, so like I said, I've been rewatching The Simpsons. I enjoyed it, but for me, The Office, still one of the greatest TV shows of all time. So it beats The Simpsons. So that gets in the finals. And so then,
I disagree.
Really, you think The Simpsons is better?
Yes.
Well, good thing it's my list and not yours. So
because let me say why.
Okay.
I think that The Office fizzled out bad.
You think
like the last few seasons are just not where they should have been.
Have you watched the last 10 seasons of The Simpsons?
No, but also there's a lot more content to watch. I mean, think about how many seasons they had of that show and how successful it was. Also, my hero, Conan O'Brien, was a writer on it. So
I knew that. Yes.
It's like I love The Office, don't get me wrong, but I go with The Simpsons just for how long it was on.
You know what? That's fine. I'll go with it. We'll put Simpsons in the finals.
No, you don't have to. That's my choice.
No, I can't be upset about it because then Parks and Rec is also making it in the finals because I put them over. I was
disagree again.
Well, no, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. Anyway, as much as I love The Price is Right, and we all have that feeling like of attachment to it, of being home with grandma, watching The Price is Right. Any day you're home from school, like that college even. I mean, even now, you think because it's always on before the noon show. So like.
And you're a big Drew Carey fan.
I am a big Drew Carey fan. Just his other, like his books are really funny. Yeah.
I used to watch his show. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked Mimi
Cleveland
with
rocks.
Crazy makeup.
But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead. So that puts The Simpsons versus Parks and Rec, and I'm putting Parks and Rec as my winner. That's my overall number one show of all time. I think it's fantastic. I think it only got better as it went on. It made you cry with Little Sebastian, and so that's what I'm crowning as my number one show.
Little Sebastian. Okay, all I'll say is I don't think I would have had the same choices, but I appreciate many of the things that you've said, and I like most of the same stuff you do.
And like I said, that list was missing. There were a lot of shows that weren't on there, like Breaking Bad.
So
wasn't
many
on
good
there.
shows.
That would have been in my finals probably.
Who?
Breaking Bad. That wasn't on the list of it. I mean, so there were just a lot of things that.
Was The Sopranos in it?
No, Sopranos wasn't on it, and that's actually one of my blind spots. I've never watched The Sopranos.
It's really good.
What
about Sex in the City?
I mean,
is that too controversial for work?
Knock yourself out. It was. I don't think it was on there, but I mean, it's not my jam. But I know a lot of people who enjoy it.
It's good.
I mean, I'm not gonna poo-poo on it. My general thing is, just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not for someone.
Right.
Except for Florida Georgia Line. You know my stance on that.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. I've crowned my winner, and I can finally we finished that. Beyond that, what have you been discovering anything new as far as TV, or have you been?
Oh yes, we've been watching a lot of TV, and my boyfriend, Corey, loves movies. Like, that is his passion, is movies. And I love movies too. I've watched a lot more Marvel movies.
I was going to say, did you make it to Endgame, or did you just...
Yes, I did. I cried. I bawled my eyes out. I'm in love with Captain America. I mean, Tony, I was really annoyed with a lot of the time, but obviously he came out a hero.
Yeah. It's real sad at the end.
Very sad. I bawled most of the movie. I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy. I finally watched that.
Good. Yeah, it's funny.
And I also really liked Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm that makes my heart happy.
Obviously we're into Tiger King, both of us.
Okay, so that's the thing. So we were talking about doing an entire podcast just dedicated to Tiger King. I don't know. It's been a few weeks now, and how crazy is that to think that that was a few weeks ago when Tiger King blew up, and now it's almost like people are past it. They're like, okay, all right, on to the next thing.
That's because everyone watched it, and what more is there to say?
Time is so weird right now.
I know.
Just a quick aside. Yeah, yesterday Mandy was like, doesn't it feel like it's only Monday or Tuesday? And I'm like, yeah, this week is flown by. But it also feels like it should be 2022. Like this year has been.
Oh, yeah. This year is insane.
Forever. But yeah, Tiger King, it's weird that the guy who leads the supposed sex cult down in Florida seems like the most normal person on there.
Oh, by far. And by far the most respected. Like, he worked on Mighty Joe Young and Ace Ventura, you know.
Wasn't he was like backstage with Britney at some VMA Awards, like he provided a snake or something?
Oh, yeah.
There's like the weird pictures. And then The Undertaker is on his Instagram page. So anyway, you know, I think anybody's listening to this has potentially watched the Tiger King at this point. We're not telling people something they don't know.
Right. Well, and that's one thing I was thinking when we were planning on doing a whole episode. I was like, what can I say that hasn't been said or hasn't been said in a more funny way on Twitter?
Here's what I'll say. So there's a podcast you can listen to also called Tiger King that actually I think came out before the show. And it's kind of picked up since then. And you hear a lot more from Carol Baskin and from Rick Kirkman, the producer, and he talks a lot more about the abuse that he witnessed as far as Joe, because that's one of the other.
Well, they didn't show enough things to make him villainous because I don't think that he was.
They built him up a lot. Yeah, and so when you hear some of the things he actually did to animals, I mean, it's you know, I hear people going, "Oh, free Joe Exotic." It's like, no, I mean, he's in prison for a reason, and that, you know, it's pretty awful. Some of the things that happen, and then they also some of the editing things they did to make Carol, because you know, you've done interviews before. There's always these kind of awkward pauses, and normally I cut those out, but they left them in there to kind of make it look like she was kind of vacant, you know, kind of out there, and so.
But she's a pro, like she's a content creator, so like you know, she would set her shot, and like they should have been grateful because she knew what they'd want, but then they like made it look like she was super fake and all this. I'm like, no, she just knows what she's doing, I think. Yeah.
So she's you know, they obviously had agendas, but I mean, I don't know.
Oh, my brother is a big Carol Baskin fan. He is like, justice for Carol, forget Joe.
I think everybody.
They're both doing bad things, honestly.
I think Raffi might have been the only person in that show that I was like, okay, he seems all right.
Who?
The dude who got his arm cut off?
That was a girl, wasn't it?
It's come out since then that I believe he's a trans man, and so that's the other thing. Sorry. They didn't make that clear, and so nobody knew that.
Well, I didn't know, so
yeah, exactly. Like you don't like they did because the show didn't make that clear, and so a lot of people. But anyway, yeah, like Raffi seemed like the only person there who I was like.
Oh, much respect. I mean, came back to work a week after getting an arm cut off. What? Yeah. I'm not that dedicated to anything.
It's one of those shows that you start watching and you're like, well, this is the craziest thing. And then right at the end of the episode, they're like, oh, also, here's this other thing. All right, well, cool. They don't even get into the murder plot until like episode 5. I mean, that's how
it's exhausting.
His run for president was fantastic. I have joined the Tiger King memes page, and I really enjoy that.
Oh, they're all hilarious. My favorite is his boyfriend with the 3 teeth, you know?
Yeah, and that's one of the other things. Rick Kirkman in one of those the podcast interviews, he said that guy has teeth that he wears, but they asked him to take them out for the interview.
Not put a shirt on
exactly.
The entire time. Gosh. Oh, something else that I've discovered during quarantine is Leslie Jordan.
Oh yeah, I know. He was on Will and Grace. He's one of the actors. I've seen some of his
Yes.
videos.
It's like I knew who he was, like, and he was. It's like I'd heard of him before quarantine, but his videos during quarantine are gold. They're so good. He's so funny and Southern, so he's very much like my brand of comedy. I love him. Love him.
Love him. All right, I like that. I'll check out more of his stuff. We also watched the new movie Emma. I mean, there's been a lot of Emma, versions of Emma.
Who's in it?
It's based on the Jane Austen novel. Anna Taylor-Joy is the main lady, and then it's a lot of British people who. Actually, one of them I think was. There's a few Game of Thrones actors, but it was very good, very entertaining, very witty, and so yeah, my wife was a big Jane Austen fan. Said it may have been one of her favorite version of that movie. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have another. Oh, like I said, I have no shortage of things that I've been watching during quarantine. Another one that I really loved, I downloaded Apple TV specifically to watch the morning show.
Oh, yes, we burned through that.
So good.
Actually, I take that back. We couldn't burn through it because it was a little heavy, so we watched. We'd have to space it out some.
Well, we burned through it faster than we should have because I miss it already and I want more.
Yeah, I do too. I really.
It reminds me. It's like a sexier version of The Newsroom. Aaron Sorkin, which is another show I really liked that was on HBO.
I was also impressed at how scummy Steve Carell could make you feel.
Oh, he was good. But it's also, I think he was perfect because he's also inherently likable.
Exactly.
Like, he is funny.
So
I think that's the problem with so many of these people that have been accused. It's like nobody's all good and nobody's all bad, but they did terrible things,
Yeah, and casting him was kind of a genius move because he gives you the feelings that you go into that with that feelings towards him. So then when you find out just all the awful things that he's done.
Because that's how it was. I mean, with people like Matt Lauer and Charlie Rose, it's like you've loved them for so long and then you find this out and you're just like, I don't know what to feel right now.
Yeah. So it was great. It was very good.
And I have a new love for Jennifer Aniston. She's like, I've always known she's beautiful and very talented, but I just really like her. And I read up on her relationship with Reese Witherspoon outside of the show. And apparently they are very close in real life because I guess Jennifer reached out when Reese broke up with Ryan Phillippe, her first husband. And like, obviously no one knows more about a public breakup than
I was going to say going through.
Yeah. But I guess she was just super supportive and they're like the best of friends in real life. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I like that they're now working together. And I mean, they're making stuff happen. They both have they have their own production companies. Like, there's so many people that say there's not enough opportunities for women. And I think they've taken it upon themselves to just make their own. And I respect that.
Sorry, I was distracted because Mandy was showing me we're getting new curtain rods for upstairs, and I was having to approve them.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that kind of stuff too.
Hi, Andrea.
There we go.
Hello, how are you?
She can't hear you. I've got headphones on.
Oh,
okay. Okay. Sorry. Well, that's good. We at some point we're gonna start watching Little Fires Everywhere. Is that her new show?
Oh yeah. I haven't started that either.
I haven't either. We've been rewatching all the Harry Potter movies.
Nice, good choice.
We have them on Blu-ray. So.
Well, Daniel Radcliffe is one of the people reading the Harry Potter books out loud. Like they're doing chapter a night, I think.
No, I didn't know that, but I knew Andy Serkis was doing Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's great. And speaking of Black Panther, how great was he in Black Panther?
Oh, so good. I was like, that's Gollum, right? And Corey was like, what? It's like, that's Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Of course, he doesn't. It's like he didn't watch Lord of the Rings, which is so disappointing. But everyone knows who Gollum is, like pop culture wise.
Well, he's got time now.
Oh, plenty.
So another thing we want to talk about. So work has changed a lot for both of us. Now that we've kind of settled into our new routines, you have taken on a lot more every day because do you produce pretty much that segment you do? You do it for Facebook?
I do it all by myself.
That's what I was wondering. I went in one day to do an interview and I saw the screens already pulled up that it looked like you'd kind of been doing, pulling stuff to prepare for it. But it's like a 20-minute show every day you're just doing by yourself on Facebook, right?
I love it.
So it's
like,
called
I like being a part of a team, but I'm also very independent, and I enjoy just, you know, being in my own world sometimes.
And so it's called The Good Side, and it's on our Facebook page, or on WKYT's Facebook page, basically every day from 11:40. Is that kind of when it goes on?
It goes on at 11:30 or 40 if I have technical issues, which I did on Friday. I don't even know if I should talk about this, and we may cut this, but you know I said the F word on accident, obviously, on air on Friday. Yep. So that was just a very traumatic day for me. Just for our listeners, I said Team Kentucky Fund, and just imagine how the last two words could maybe meld together and make an F word.
But you were a pro, and you know what? Yeah, you got right through it. And
I mean, I definitely stuttered, and I told you my heart stopped. So, like, I stuttered afterwards because I was like, oh, my gosh, do I address this? Do I just move on? I was like, nope, just move on. This is not, I am quick to joke about myself and, you know, pick on myself and be self-deprecating. But I'm like, I don't need to draw any more attention to this than I already have.
But now you're talking about it on a podcast, and I may just cut this whole thing out.
I know. Well, I mean, it hasn't been on social media or anything.
That's good. That's
the thing. Blessing.
I was going to say, that's the thing you don't want, is to be to become a viral meme.
I honestly think that, you know, news is being absorbed in a very different way. Like, people are able to sleep in a lot more because you're not really leaving the house. So I think, you know, our viewership is probably down a little bit, which makes sense, but it's kind of unfortunate.
Which is kind of the difference between, on the 4 o'clock show, we've actually seen our viewership surge, but a lot of that is because people are home at 4 o'clock now, whereas before people were at work. You know, it was
exactly
ratings would build throughout the show.
Everybody's watching for Andy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Everybody wants those daily updates.
My Friday was also a little interesting because I around 2:50, because you know I'm anchoring from home. And around 2:15, the power went out at my house.
Oh my gosh.
And so, luckily, I was editing. I had stories for 4 and 6, and I wasn't too worried about the stories because my laptop had power, and I could always go out to my car, turn on the car, and I've got an inverter in there, so I could plug in the laptop. So my stories were fine, but if I don't have power at my house, I can't anchor. I mean, I can't turn my TV on. I can, you know, like I plug in the light. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I just won't be able to do. Oh, you may have heard my dryer go off.
I did. I'm drying clothes too right now.
So, you know, I was like, well, I guess that's just not going to happen. So I'm texting with them, and the outage website said it'd be back on around 6. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just not anchoring today. And then around 3:35, all of a sudden, boom, all the lights come back on. I go, oh, I guess I am. So I text the station.
So you had to rush and get back on.
Yeah, that's the thing, because normally I start a little sooner setting everything up, and I was just operating on the assumption that, you know, I guess I'm not anchoring. Because if they'd came back on at 3:50, I probably wouldn't. I'd be like, I just don't have time to set it up. But at 3:30, I'm like, okay, I think okay.
In theory, I can do this.
And so I text them and like, all right, great. So yeah, I was a little rushed, and then that kind of slowed me down for the rest of my stuff.
Yeah. Are you enjoying working from home?
I am. Yeah, actually, it's been a blessing. I get to, you know, I get to spend a lot more time with my daughter.
Oh, and this is an age where you need to be spending as much time with her as possible, because you don't get these. I mean, obviously, any age with a child, but like, I think it is kind of a blessing in a way that people are getting to just reconnect with their families. Yeah. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of babies and divorces after all this.
One of my friends sent me a meme that was like the 2 main characters from Breaking Bad standing over this pile of money, and it said after the lockdown ends, and it said like divorce lawyers and hairstylists.
Yeah,
for this giant pile of money.
Yeah, seriously though. I will say the one thing about the good side that I've really enjoyed is, like, it's been something that has helped me kind of keep my sanity and stay very positive, because I'm specifically looking for positive content to share every day. And I think that's been really good for my mental health.
Well, and that's the thing. It's so easy to focus on all of the negativity. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. And then,
and that's my jam anyway. Like, those are the stories I like to do personally. And there are a few that I've just done myself that I've just set up, because people send me story ideas, but it's like, I'm like, I don't think we have time to cover that. But what I'm doing kind of allows me to, you know, work on it slowly and be able to do it over a few days. It's been nice.
Did you include the no gathering
Hmm?
The video I sent you the other day about it was like the Backstreet remix, but it's No Gathering instead of No
Oh, I
Dick.
haven't seen it yet. I know you sent it, and I think it was one of those things where I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that later because I was busy.
I'll play it for you right now. I believe it's a Lexington-based artist.
You said Blackstreet, not Backstreet, didn't you?
Yes.
Like it?
So there you go. So you can use that on Monday. And people, if you want to look that up online,
that's perfect.
It's called No Gathering, No Diggity Remix, Coronavirus Edition. And so, yeah. If there was a weird audio thing, it's because Andrea's phone died. And we had to pick it back up. We've seen each other, I think, twice since this started because I had to go in to get my laptop worked on once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, I've been home. And you.
Oh, my God.
What?
Corey just came in, and he was standing behind me and scared me to death. You
heard me.
You may have to beep that out. Just leave it in, actually. You are such a jerk.
I thought you heard me.
You did not. He does this all the time. He always tries to scare me every time he gets home.
I didn't want to interrupt the podcast.
Bull. He sent me a text saying, I hope I'm there. I hope you're still
podcasting. I really thought, I was like, well, we have audio of Andrea being murdered. That's going to be sad, but at least it'll help in the trial.
Oh, my gosh. No, but he's jealous because, Roger, Barbara's husband.
Yeah, he gets to show up all the time.
He makes several appearances on air, and Corey's constantly brainstorming how he could embarrass me by pretending to not realize he was in the shot on the news.
He's just gonna walk through naked and be like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know," and just like look at the camera.
I know. I'm just like, wow. So it's honestly probably for the best that I'm still going to the station every day. Somebody can't be trusted.
There are a few of you who still get to do that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of liking this. I think it's going to be weird whenever I'm getting used to it. And whenever I do have to start going back, waking up every morning. So the other day we had, because we have station meetings basically every quarter, just kind of check in. Jeff, our boss, kind of leads them. And it turns out, part of being a good boss is just checking in with your team and seeing how everybody's doing. And so he's pretty good about that. And, my message got delivered. Sorry. So he moved it online, which is awesome. Lets everybody check in. So it was a Zoom meeting, and then I see all of a sudden he starts talking. He's like, so is somebody watching Gremlins?
Oh, that was you.
And I realized it's because I was in, but I was walking Vader, and I guess he heard my dog like making weird noises, and he thought it was Jim at first. And you said I think it's Jim. And then I was talking to one of the neighborhood dogs because I had my headphones in with the microphone on, and I didn't realize, I thought I'd muted myself. I made sure that I started muted because I was like, well, I don't want to go in, and so he hears me going like, oh, good boy. I'm talking to the neighborhood dog.
I heard that too, and I did not know.
So in the middle of this meeting, you just hear somebody being like, oh, good boy, and then I'm
like, heck.
When he mentions the Gremlins, that's when I realized it was me.
Because of Vader.
So you know what? But so at least I wasn't, in the bathroom or something. It was just walking the dog. So.
Oh, well,
could have been worse.
See, I was on a Zoom chat with the morning team, and I walked in the bathroom because I thought.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, and Shelby was like, stop, and I was like, I'm not going to the bathroom. Like, actually.
I've heard stories of people leaving their mic on while they go to the bathroom, and then
that booth sounds mortifying.
The booth hears it.
Mortifying. Well, there's the one really popular one where it's like farting a lot.
Well,
and nobody could keep a straight face.
I saw
or something.
I saw the video of the Zoom meeting where the girl actually took the computer into the bathroom and then set it down on the floor. Didn't realize that she was still on. And they're like, Jennifer, no, Jennifer. So we haven't done that yet. All right. Well, Andrea, this has been fun. We'll have to do it again next weekend.
I know. I'm always pretty much free. I mean, we're not doing a whole lot of anything. I don't know why it's taken us so long to figure this out. Probably because I didn't have Zoom till today, since I'm an old lady.
You being at the station, you don't need it as much as everybody else.
True.
And it's also already on the station laptops and stuff.
Right.
Vera, do you want to say hi?
Did she sneeze?
Let me unplug my headphones.
Hi, Vera.
Vera, you want to say hi? Say hi.
Say hi to Andrea.
Oh, she just woke up from a nap, so I guess that's
happy birthday, Bill.
Hey, happy birthday, Bill.
That was about as well as it went the first time she tried.
Last time I was just questioning duck, so yeah.
I was so confused where that came from. And then I guess Maid was like, do you want cake? And she goes, happy birthday, Bill. Like, that girl, that's my girl.
She's already developing an accent. So
the way she says Bill is the cutest thing. It's two syllables. Bill.
Bill. All right. Well, this is fun. If you're still listening at this point, thanks for sticking around. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Oh, okay.
I'm so behind. I haven't talked to you in so long. Okay, so tell DH that I absolutely love the video he posted with the ration book. I
will.
showed that one day on the good side, and I love him. I already did, but I love him even more now. That was such a good video.
Yeah, and it kind of exemplified, because a lot of people think, oh, they're rationing food items. It's because there isn't enough. It's like, no, there's enough. It just ensures that everybody, and that was kind of the point of his video, ensures that everybody gets enough. If you have one or two people who go in and buy up everything, well, they don't need that much, and now other people are going to have to go without. And so that was kind of the thing.
I loved it. He did such a good. I loved it.
Just take what you need. Yeah. So it was really good, and So Andrea, we'll post a link to that or something. And I'll post a link to No Diggity. Actually, I think I already did on Twitter. You can check it out. I said my daughter was.
Watch The Good Side Monday at 11:30, where I will be playing it.
There you go. All right, Andrea. Well, anything else you'd like to say before we finish up this nonsense?
No, only that if we were married, I'd be going to a divorce lawyer after this podcast. But we're not married yet, so.
Oh, you were talking about you and Corey. I was like, this is weird. What are you talking about?
No, because he scared me to death.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Okay. Well.
He's great, but, he's not perfect by any means.
Well, we're all learning a lot about each other. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.